I'm Jennifer Purcell, and welcome to my podcast, Living with an Invisible Learning Challenge, where we will discuss, discover, and learn more about the challenges and triumphs of those with NLD and other learning challenges. I do have a website for this podcast, and it is called livingwithnld.com. I also have a Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter account for the podcast. They are all under the same name, which is Living with NLD. I also have a YouTube channel for the podcast, which can be found by Googling the title of the podcast, which is Living with an Invisible Learning Challenge. I would like to tell you about a nonprofit that I use for my research for this podcast. It is called the NLD Project, and I use their blog for my research. They are a nonprofit that is based in New York and is trying to get NVLD back on the DSM, and they provide many resources for people with NVLD on their website. I'll provide you with the website for them in the podcast description. All proceeds from the ads on this podcast will be donated towards the NVLD project. Please feel free to explore the other topics on the podcast, and hopefully you will learn something new from them. I hope you enjoy today's episodes. I also want to mention to you that I just launched my podcast swag on Wednesday of this week and have a page for it on my website, and I will also send you the link to it in the podcast description, and I will also send it to you in the newsletter that I usually send out on Fridays. I am now selling t-shirts, water bottles, and a backpack, and they all have the podcast logo and title on it and the tagline. So I am looking forward to watching the sales and seeing who buys them, and spreading the word more about my podcast. And today I am very excited to announce that BetterHelp is now sponsoring this podcast. I have had 7 years of therapy, so I know it can help change your life if you not only let it, but work on the personal goals that you set with your therapist. Without a healthy mind, being truly happy and at peace is hard. The good news is therapy works. But what is therapy exactly? It's whatever you want it to be. Maybe you're not feeling motivated right now and would like some tools to help. Or maybe you're feeling insecure in relationships at work, not dealing well with stress. Whatever you need, it's time to stop being ashamed of normal human struggles and start feeling better, because you deserve to be happy. And now you don't have to worry about finding an in-person therapist near you to help. BetterHelp is customized online therapy that offers video, phone, and even live chat sessions with your therapist, so you don't have to see anyone on camera if you don't want to. It's more affordable than in-person therapy, and you can start communicating with your therapist in under 48 hours. Join the millions of people who are seeing what online therapy is really about. It's always a good time to invest in yourself because you are the greatest asset. And special offering to listeners of Living with an Invisible Learning Challenge. You can get 10% off your first month of professional therapy at betterhelp.com/ I'll put in the link in the podcast description for you. That's BetterHelp, HELEP. Thanks again to BetterHelp for sponsoring this podcast. Okay, so honestly, I'm not doing great right now, but I wanted to share with you why, because I can be vulnerable with you guys, and I'm okay with doing that. I Okay, so here it goes. As you know, I have NLD and I have chronic migraines and have for the past, well, it'll be 9 years this come um, this May, I think. And it's challenging because my doctors don't really know what caused my migraines, and they don't know about, well, they do know about my NLD, but there's no research out there about migraines and NLD, and at least next to nothing. Yes, I'm a little choked up, and um, honestly, I'm not using the script for this, so I might ramble with this, but I think that's okay. I'm trying to speak from the heart right now and get some things off my chest. What am I trying to say? I guess what I'm trying to say is it's frustrating for me because I've tried at least, I don't know, probably 40 or 50 different medications, whether they're um, natural or medical, and they seem to help with the migraines for a few months, whether that's 3 or 5, and then they stop working because your body gets used to them, and then it doesn't want to let them help anymore. At least that's what my doctors tell me, my neurologist or my primary doctor. And I know that my doctors care, but when my mic and what sorry when my prescription stopped working for my migraines or for whatever I'm taking them for, and I try something else or I feel like trying something else, it's not so much the price that I'm concerned about. It's more, is it worth it? Is it going to do something else to my body? Is it um, is it really going to help, or is it just going to be another lost cause? It makes me feel like a lab rat. I feel sick. I feel invisible. I'm frustrated. I feel like giving up. I don't want to go off what I'm trying because some of it does help. I don't want to be in constant pain because sometimes I feel like a sledgehammer has hit my head, and sometimes I'm nauseous, and sometimes I can't eat very much. I try to eat because I know I need to. Um, I'm still working on writing podcast scripts. It's been challenging to do that on top of my workload, and my work hasn't been impacted the last few months. I've been making more mistakes that I used to not make, and um, I've been apologizing about that to my parents, and I'm not happy about that, and neither are they. And um, I'm trying to work on what I know causes my migraines, which is stress and things from my past, and trying to manage those, and trying to manage how I respond to it and can control it, because I thought I hit another car the other day, this past week, on what was it, Wednesday? Yeah. Um, and luckily I didn't. It was a close call, but with NLD and driving, I usually don't drive that often because of my migraines. Sometimes I can't drive because of how much pain I'm in. And it's hard for me to drive because of the visual spatial factor with NLD. and multitasking and making sure that I'm paying attention, which I've got better at with all those factors. But even still, then it's challenging in making sure that I'm mindful and safe and that I'm, doing everything I need to. And I've done episodes on driving and on car accidents before, so I'm not going to go into it that much. But I got rattled again and I got shocked and I went in a downward spiral because I was like, I can't have anything else on my record. Before my dad checked to see if I did, before my dad checked my car to see if I did hit the other car, and luckily I didn't, but I couldn't, when I was checking, I couldn't tell because of how many dents are on my car from the other accidents I've been in. Anyways, those are connected to the migraines because of it being challenging to drive sometimes because of the physical pain I'm in and not trusting myself to get to where I want to go safely. But what I do want to share with you is a quote that I just kind of read to myself to remind myself that I can do this, even if I hesitate or question myself sometimes. I can do it. It's from Lana Raphael. I think it's brave that you get up in the morning, even if your soul is worried and your bones ache for a rest. I think it's brave that you keep on living, even if you don't know how to anymore. I think it's brave that you push away the waves rolling in every day and you decide to fight again. I know there are days when you feel like giving up. I think it's brave that you never do. That was Lana Raphael. If you would like to listen to more episodes about my migraines or about NLD, please go to livingwithnld.com and go to the episode page. There's plenty of them there. You might have to go back a few pages to look for them. I'm not really sure what numbers they are right now. Sorry about that. But I'm just keeping this one short for today because it's a little hard for me to do a longer one right now. But there are articles out there that I've used before in the past on these topics of NLD and migraines and driving. So feel free to do some of the research that you would like to in terms of what I've cited before or some of your own research. I will keep you posted and I will chat with you next week. Hope you guys are doing better than I am. Thanks for listening. And today I am very excited to announce that BetterHelp is now sponsoring this podcast. I have had 7 years of therapy, so I know it can help change your life if you not only let it, but work on the personal goals that you set with your therapist. Without a healthy mind, being truly happy and at peace is hard. The good news is therapy works. But what is therapy exactly? It's whatever you want it to be. Maybe you're not feeling motivated right now and would like some tools to help. Or maybe you're feeling insecure in relationships at work, not dealing well with stress. Whatever you need, it's time to stop being ashamed of normal human struggles and start feeling better because you deserve to be happy. And now you don't have to worry about finding an in person therapist near you to help. BetterHelp is customized online therapy that offers video, phone, and even live chat sessions with your therapist. So you don't have to see anyone on camera if you don't want to. It's more affordable than in person therapy, and you can start communicating with your therapist in under 48 hours. Join the millions of people who are seeing what online therapy is really about. It's always a good time to invest in yourself because you are the greatest asset. And special offering to listeners of Living with an Invisible Learning Challenge. You can get 10% off your first month of professional therapy at betterhelp.com/. I'll put in the link in the podcast description for you. That's BetterHelp, HELEP. Thanks again to BetterHelp for sponsoring this podcast. As I wrap up, there are some things I would like to share with you. I do have a website for this podcast. It is called livingwithnld.com. I also have a Facebook and Instagram page for this podcast. It is called Living with NLD. I will include the links for those in the description. In conclusion, I would like to hear from my audience. If you know individuals with NLD that I could interview for this podcast, please email me at livingwithnld@gmail.com. What are you interested in learning about NLD? I know I'm not an expert, but I do know I have the living experience of having it. I would like you to practice journaling about your gifts and differences. Also see if there is a way that you can make that difference become easier for you to do than originally it was. Thank you for listening today, and please go to my YouTube channel and subscribe to it. Thank you. Bye.